Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. In this lesson, you must be able to sketch the 3D shapes of orbital S, P and D. So please stay with me until the end of the video and have fun in your learning. Previously, you have seen the general atomic shape of S, P, and D orbitals, where S is in spherical shape, P in dumbbell, and D in cloverleaf. So, for this session now, please get ready with your pencil and paper because we are going to draw these orbitals. We will have S orbital when the value of L equals to 0. So S orbital is a spherical shape with the nucleus at the center. So at the center of this spherical shape, okay, adanya nucleus. So nucleus akan berada di tengah-tengah of this orbital shape. The probability of finding electrons at the distance r from the nucleus is the same from all directions, meaning that dalam directions ini, dalam semua directions ini, kebarangkalian untuk kita jumpa elektron in this region adalah sama. And as n increases, S orbital will get larger. So you can see the 1s to 2s to 3s. So as the value of n increases, so if you still remember, this is the value of n and this is the value of L. So we can see from these values as the number of n increases, which means energy level increases, the size of the atomic orbitals pun will get larger. Okay, so to draw the 3D shape for spherical for this S orbital, so to draw the 3D shape of this spherical of S orbital, so what you have to do is you have to make sure to draw its axis. So we have y-axis here, this is x-axis, and here we have the z-axis. Okay, so you have to draw the axis together with your 3D shape. Okay, it is compulsory to draw the axis, and please make sure you label your orbital at the bottom of your drawing. So again, in order to draw the shape of the orbital, so firstly make sure you have to draw the axis first, and then barulah awak draw shape of your orbital. And please bear in mind, if you are about to draw the shape of the orbital for 3s and 2s, you have to make sure the size of the 3s must be bigger than the size of 2s orbital. We will get p orbital when the value of L equals to 1. So the shape of the p orbital will be in dumbbell shape. Maksudnya kita akan ada dua kelopak, dua bulatan atas dan bawah. Okay, and for p orbital, we have another 3D generates orbital, which is px, py, and pz. So how do we get this px, py, and pz? It is actually from the value of the ml. If you still remember, when we have the value of L equals to 1, the value of the ml, we take the value from -1 until +1. Okay, so which is from -1, 0, and +1. So since we have three numbers over here, so these three numbers represent the px, py, and pz orbital. And again, as the n increases, as the energy level increases, the p orbitals will get larger. Okay, besar nilai n, so the shape or the size of this orbital ini pun akan semakin besar. And all p orbitals have a node at the nucleus. So where is the nucleus of p orbital? The nucleus is located at this center. Okay, so this center is actually the nucleus in p atomic orbital. And as you can see in this PZ, PX and PY orbital, how can you draw the 3D shape of this orbital adalah dengan melukis dua kelopak ini. Okay, so for example untuk PY, so these two kelopak or lobes must be on the y-axis. Okay, kelopak ini mesti dilukis di atas y-axis. Untuk PX, this kelopak must be written or must be drawn in the x-axis. Dan untuk PZ, this kelopak must be drawn on the z-axis. Okay, did you get the concept? No? Let's draw this together once again. Now, we are going to draw the 3D atomic orbital for PX. So, bila kita kata 3D sahaja, maksudnya mesti kena ada paksi, axis. So firstly, you have to draw the axis very well. Draw it neatly. You can use your ruler, please. So here we have y-axis, x-axis, and z-axis. So here to draw the px orbital, so p is a dumbbell shape. So for px, you have to draw both kelopak on the x-axis. So now, this is the shape of PX. And if it is for PY pula, the shape of the PY orbital must be on the y-axis. And if it is for PZ, so you have to draw the shape of the P on the z-axis. It is that simple. Senang kan? So that are the way to draw the PX, PY and PZ axis. So let's say soalan asks you to draw the orbitals of, for example, 2px, 2py and 2pz. So please make sure you label at the bottom of your lukisan as 2px, 2py and 2pz. And the way to label must be 2, P in small letter and axis in subscript. D orbital is obtained when L equals to 2. So when L equals to 2, ML will take the value from -2 until +2. So here we have 5 numbers in the value of ML. So these 5 numbers are referring to 5 degenerate orbitals. And these 5 degenerate orbitals can be labeled as dyz, dxz, dxy, dx squared minus y squared, and dz squared. So basically, these are the 3D atomic orbitals for d orbital. We have 4 d orbitals that have 4 loops over here. So these are the 4 orbitals that having 4 loops. And we have 1 orbital has 2 major loops along z-axis and a donut-shaped girdle at the center. So for dyz orbital, the shape of the cloverleaf is drawn in between the y and z axis. So you have to see the labeling at the bottom over here. Okay, tengok pada aksisnya. So kalau it is dyz, bermaksud kita ada paksi y and paksi z di sini. So how to draw the shape or the cloverleaf shape of dyz adalah you have to lukis shape itu in between. Okay, di tengah-tengah di antara paksi dy and z. And for dxz, you have to draw the cloverleaf shape in between x and z axis. So here is this is z axis. So you have to draw the cloverleaf shape in between the axis. Okay, so making the shape like this lah. And for dxy, draw the cloverleaf shape in between x and y axis. So we have x axis and y axis here. So draw the shape in between the x and y axis. And for dx squared minus y squared, yang ni quite different dengan the other three, di mana the shape of the cloverleaf for dx squared minus y squared, you have to draw on the axis itself. Okay, so we have x-axis here and y-axis here. Okay, so draw the shape of the cloverleaf exactly on the axis x and y. Lastly, we have the z-squared 1d orbital, which has two major loops along z-axis, something quite similar to the shape of the dumbbell, and there's a donut-shaped girdle at the center. Have you got all the tricks? So now, let's do this together once again. We will start with dxz orbital. So to draw the labeling of the orbital, you have to use the small letter d, and then the rest will be subscript. Okay, so firstly, draw the axis. So to make it easy for the drawing, I will keep my axis sebagai z di sini. Here is x and here will be y. So to draw the dxz orbital, you have to draw the cloverleaf shape. Tapi di mana bagaimana nak lukis bentuk cloverleaf? Kita akan lukis in between x and z axis. So di mana in between itu? Okay, di antara di sini. Next will be dxy. So we are going to use the same concept. For dxy, you are going to draw the cloverleaf shape in between x and y axis. So to make it easy, I will change my axis to be like this. So xy in between x and y. So again, for the dxz, dxy and dyz, you have to draw the cloverleaf shape in between the axes. So for the dx squared minus y squared, we have to draw the shape of the cloverleaf exactly on the axis of x and y. And lastly, for the dz squared, we will have the two loops on the z-axis and a donut at the center. So for all these shape of d orbitals, we do have a node at the center as the nucleus.
Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope this video could help to enhance your understanding in chemistry. Have fun in your learning and remember, chemistry is easy and fun.